Kendall Blanton in a GPP?
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic shockitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, close 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Justin says, let's hope there's a good leverage captain flex again. Yeah, we got some stuff to work with. I am missing last Monday night. I mean, last Monday night, the Zach Moss play was just chef's kiss. The Sims did identify Jakeem Grant. I was able to sneak that takeoff on the tilt space. It sounds like some of you profited off of that. We will see what we can do tonight here with this Rams-Cardinals game. 51.5 point over-under. I always read Cody Main's Showdown articles, and I always love seeing which adjectives he cycles through. A juicy 51.5 point over-under. His favorite, though, if it's over 50, it's like 75% chance he's going to say mouth-watering. A mouth-watering 51.5 point total. I'm actually going to have Cody on my Thursday cram before that Chiefs-Chargers game, so looking forward to that. Cody does great work on the Showdown articles over at ETR. So we're going to chop it up with him on Thursday. Looking forward to that. Let's see here. Inc is playing out of my bankroll range for 2K crowns. Give me the good showdowns thought lead. The good showdown thought lead. Okay. Wow. All right. We don't advise playing outside of your bankroll range, but we are going to do the best that we can. Thank you, Corey. Yes. I don't know if these are available for sale. I think this was an influencer shirt I got. Maybe we'll talk to Justin, see if we can give some of these away or something like that. Feed you the $200 salary plays. God, you guys just take. I just want a little bit of foreplay, just a little bit of foreplay, kind of ease into it. And you guys just want to go straight for the sex, I get it. No one has time for foreplay. Let's get into it. And run the Sims. So as far as, what's our buzzword? Input volatility for stuff tonight. We obviously had, oh shit, I don't have where is my thing? There is my thing. Okay, there we have it. We have Tyler Higbee out. We have Darrell Henderson still out. So we have a big market share of carries for Sony Michel. He operated as the true lead back last week with Henderson out. The wide receiver stuff for the Rams is fairly solidified at this point. Cooper Kupp, monster target share. Odell Beckham and Van Jefferson, very similar market share. Odell actually has the slightly larger ADOT this year, and Van Jefferson is kind of taken over the Odell role. Robert Woods role. So slightly lower ADOT for Van Jefferson. The big news is with Tyler Higbee out, we do have Kendall Blanton, who has seen more snaps than Bryson Hopkins so far this year. So we are giving, Blanton the slight edge there. But as you can see from this market share of yardage, it's nothing too special. And yet on a showdown slate, it might become relevant here. As far as the Cardinals, we didn't get Chase Edmonds activated off of IR. So we have James Conner leading this backfield. But we do have a little bit of Eno Benjamin and Jonathan Ward sprinkled in here. But James Conner will be the lead back. As far as the wide receivers, we have the Cardinals running their 4 wide receiver sets, and Hopkins has been at about a 20% target share and then fairly even with these guys after them. The interesting wrinkle on this slate is just Rondale Moore at 2,000, just completely mispriced relative to these other guys. I don't know why this happened. I have no idea why Rondale Moore is down here at 2,000. I think I saw Cody say his average salary this year was like 3,600. So no idea what's going on there, but he is going to be very popular. And yet he still looks like one of the best flex plays. We'll get to that in a sec. The other thing tonight too, as we'll see here in the Sims, the defenses look pretty decent to me as well. That sweet, sweet water. Blanton has, maybe he was operating as the blocking tight end when Ertz was in, but he leads Hopkins in snaps, targets, and routes run 12-3. So I feel comfortable working under the assumption that Blanton is going to see more routes than Bryce Hopkins. Wow, Sargent season it is. No, let's get to it here. So also snazzy new addition to the Run the Sims interface. So we have now added captain leverage and total leverage to these plays, which is a pretty cool thing for all of you hand builders out there. The plays that really stood out to me for captain ownership as I was looking or captain plays as I was looking at aggregated ownership was James Conner. I'm seeing around 14 to 15% captain ownership on James Conner. We have him appearing in the Sims here at 14.4%. So pretty good leverage there on James Conner, 8.8% total leverage. And I think it's going to even be a little bit more in the captain slot. Cooper Kupp, even with his high ownership, I was seeing average ownership on captain around 17%. We have it a little higher here at 21%, but he's appearing in our captain rate at 24%. So a little bit of a leg up there on what the field is going to be doing. And then Sony Michel is the other one, seeing about 12% average ownership for him, and he's appearing in our Sims at a 17% captain rate. So some nice captain leverage here with Cooper Kupp, Sony Michel, James Conner. And then as far as the flex stuff goes, Rondale Moore actually looks pretty good. Rondale Moore, we have him around a 44 or 35% flex ownership, which is pretty similar to what I saw at a few other ownership projection sources. I was seeing it around 30%, and he's appearing in our flex rate here 43% of the time. So even as the cheap kind of pump play du jour, it seems like he's not getting rostered quite enough. So definitely fine to fire up Rondale here. I will say this seems like a play that if you're in single entry in 3 max and smaller contests, I'm going to guess that this ownership is much higher because he's your cash game play. He's your chalk play. He's your de facto pump play that's going to project the best of anyone under 3,000. So I would expect more ownership on that in small field stuff. Let's see what also I'll give a few other more. James Conner, who we already mentioned for captain, looks good in flex. Not a ton of big flex leverage plays. I would say that Van Jefferson, where was Van Jefferson? Van Jefferson appearing in our flex 20% of the time. He's a pretty even, a neutral play. His average ownership around 21%. And he, on the flip side, I think could be a guy that is a little less owned just because his price tag at 8,000 is pretty pricey. And just knowing how similar the target shares are for Odell and Van Jefferson, I imagine people will just be happy to save the money with Odell, save that 1,800. So that's something I'm kind of paying attention to if you are playing small field stuff. Let's see what these lineups are looking like here. Might have to zoom out so we can see this projected own. Also, I love that we added this. This is a new addition to the custom lineup screener here, which we can quickly see the build type. If you've been watching this show throughout the year, you've seen me quickly trying to look at these lineups and say it. And now I can quickly look over here and see what we're working with as far as 1-5s, 5-1s. Of course, the one side is, or the left side is the underdog in the case of a 1-5, Rondale Moore. Is that right? Who's the underdog tonight? Who is the underdog? 23-26. No. All right. The Cardinals are our favorite. Sorry. The favorites is on this side. So it would be a 1-5 with the 5 to the underdog. So right out the bat here, we see a pretty even mixture of textures of teams, nothing standing out as a dominant construction. We have this lineup appearing 28 times out of the 10,000 simulations, and Odell captain, Matthew Stafford flex, Rondell, Sony Michel, James Conner, Kyler Murray. That looks like a fairly chalky, popular lineup. Very high product owned there. Let's scroll down and see what it takes to get some more unique product owned. Kendall Blanton, you toss him into a 5-1. That gets things a little lower. Can we get anything in the double digits? A 97.8. Cooper Kupp, Sony Michel, Matthew Stafford, Blanton, Christian Kirk, Van Jefferson. So a 1-5 there. Jake, at work, so can't watch much, but just wanted to stop by and say hi. Thank you, Jake. I will post in the chat, because you unlocked this. I share these in the Run the Sims channel. Here you go if you can't stay. I'm pasting the best flex and captain spots based on how much they're appearing in the Sims relative to ownership. So thank you to Jake for unlocking that for the YouTube chat tonight. Let's see here. Andrew says, hey, Pete, thanks for the enjoyment. The bankroll finally dried. We will make it all back with Crowns plays only. Hey, I hear that. Week 14 was rough. I got dusted in week 14. All jokes aside, it is why we preach bankroll management. We got to play within our role so we can live to see another day. Think of all the juicy playoff slates we're going to have. We got to make sure we're live for those. Is Bryson Hopkins showing up at all? So he isn't showing up a ton because we prefer Blanton. So, when they're at very similar prices, because we are giving Blanton a little bit more of a target share, he's showing up more. But this is one of those classic, input volatility things. If you think, Bryson Hopkins, you can switch these. You can go 3.5. If I can type, you can go 3.5 for Blanton, and you can go 7.4 for Hopkins, because we want to keep this other part of the pie relatively consistent. 3.2, 6.8 for TD market share. We'll keep their catch rates the same. And I assume if we run these, this will flip here as far as how frequently these guys are appearing. Let me just check on some ownership for these guys too. So it does seem like Blanton is also going to be the preferred play. Most sites are projecting Blanton for a higher projection. But if you do flip this, you can see here Bryson Hopkins pops up to 16%. And Kendall Stanton is down here at 4%. So that, again, just to emphasize the input volatility on these things, just shifting 3.5% market share, swings these guys as plays by almost, 10 to 15%. So feel free to IKB the tight ends. I'm going to trust the Sims input on this one, but you can certainly fiddle with that stuff. Brandon says, Captain Connors, Cards D, Rondell for large field GPPs. So Connor Captain looks good. Cards defense looks pretty good. I rarely see the defenses coming in higher than the projected ownership. It just seems like the field is always more willing to play the defenses, but this might be kind of the classic inverse situation where this game has a high total. People don't want to play the defenses, but the defenses actually look pretty decent. So we have the Cardinals here with a 15.5% flex rate, and they are appearing in the Sims slightly more than that. Projected ownership around 10%. This is almost exactly what I saw in aggregated ownership as well, 10%. Flex ownership, 15.5% flex rate. So I like that thought that you had, Brandon, as far as correlating Captain Connor with Cards D. And I think we can I would like to run this as a low scoring game. It's something I like to do. Even if we have like a 14, to 17 game. So it's not a complete dud, but it comes in well underneath the total. I think that's interesting to look at. The Cardinals rush rate is already pretty high. Let's boost the Rams rush rate in a gross low scoring game, lower their pace down a smidge, and we can see what kind of lineups show up in this scenario. Ink says, do you just play the best leverage play at captain, or do you take the highest sim rates into account? So what I personally do, and this is one of those classic, you really need to use the sims to fit your specific goals. I'm playing the lottos. Tonight, the $3 20 max, one of them has 158,000 teams in it. So I am leveraging the product own projection in these lineups to find the lineups I do not think are going to be duplicated in that big of a contest. So I'm scrolling through, I'm running the sims a bunch of different ways. Rams blowout, Cardinals blowout, low scoring slog, high scoring game. And then I am sorting and I'm finding lineups that I think aren't going to be heavily duped, because that's my number one goal in that large field contest, is to win it all and not be sharing it with 400 of my best friends. I also recommend this tool, sportsprojections.com. He has this free dupe analyzer. I'm posting the link in the chat. If you want to know if you are building good 20 max sets, you can download the CSV standings once the contest goes live on DraftKings. You can export that. You upload the CSV to this site, and then you can do user entry investigation. You search your username, and it'll show you how many duplicates you have. And that's a really, really good indicator of if you're building plus EV lineups. If all of your lineups have, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus dupes, you're getting it in very bad. Some of these lineups, when you look at the contest, there will be lineups oftentimes that are duped over 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Just a complete negative EV punt putting in a lineup like that. So focusing on the product ownership is a very, very valuable way if you are playing the super large field lottos like I am. So all back to your specific question. If I was hand building a single entry or 3 max, I personally don't like the single entry 3 max sweat for Showdown. Some people do. More power to you. Then I would be using the optimal leverage to hand build a lineup. I would be looking at these results. And granted, this is for a specific sim that I ran as a low scoring game, but I would be like, okay, I want to play this as a low scoring game. Which captain is showing the most leverage? Okay, James Conner. All right, he's my captain. Now let's go look at flex rate. Who's showing the top total leverage here? Okay, Sony Michel. All right, I'll include him in. Oh, Cardinals D. That correlates nicely. Then I might pick a couple, and then I might head over to my custom lineups and see and scroll for a lineup that looks like one that I want to play. Oh, here we go. Here's a James Conner, Arizona Cardinals, Van Jefferson, Kyler Murray, Sony Michel, Christian Kirk. This only has 86.4 product owned. I think that's going to be fairly unique in a contest size that's probably like 5,000 or less. I probably wouldn't toss this into something bigger than that. But there I did. There I just hand built using the Sims and the product own as a guidepost. And we can scroll up here and see a product own with over 1,000. That's going to be heavily duplicated, even a small field contest. This is going to be closer toward a cash game type lineup. So that is how I would utilize the Sims, as either an Opto Bro or a hand builder. Any Eno love or too cute? No, I have some Eno. Let's let me look at these custom lineups though, because this was I got on a side tangent, but this was for our low scoring game input here. Although I need to reset back the Blanton and Hopkins. Let me run that again. So, in this scenario here, it flips, right? When we're playing this as a really low scoring game, all of a sudden Sony Michel starts to look really good. 19% captain rate would be pretty nice captain leverage there. And then if we look at some of these lineups, I bet we're going to see a defense in most of these. Cardinals, Rams. This one doesn't have one. This one doesn't have one. Cardinals, Rams. Can we get a double D? Can we find the double Ds for Mathology tonight? Rams, Cardinals. Man, having a hard time finding double Ds. So, letting you know, these are in the optimals. Not seeing a lot of optimal double Ds here on the high end. Double D shouldn't be this hard to spot. But I think it's a good takeaway that even if you play this as a 17-14 game, you're getting a lot of a single defense in there, but not getting two. Now, I bet if you play this as a 14-10 game, I bet we'll get some double Ds. So in a vacuum, I prefer OBJ. As far as flex plays, when you factor in ownership, I also prefer Odell Beckham. Van Jefferson looks like a neutral play based on his projected ownership, where we have Odell Beckham in the Sims about 6% more of the time than Van Jefferson. And I also like that he's getting more downfield targets. He has a higher ADOT than Van Jefferson, so bigger chance for big plays. We like that on showdown slates. I keep getting distracted. What did I go to look at? Oh, I was playing this as a really low scoring game. We get Rams D appearing 38% of the time, and we get Cardinals D appearing 27% of the time. There we go. Here's our double Ds. We finally hit the double Ds. Cooper Kupp, James Conner, Sony Michel, Van Jefferson, Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. Ross says, what about Skowronek as leverage against Blanton? I don't know if Blanton is getting enough ownership to warrant leverage on. I'm seeing 14% average ownership for Blanton. And what am I seeing here for Skowronek? Around 8%. So you're getting like 6% difference there in the flex. So, I mean, I don't mind it. I do agree. I saw Jay Fresh say in the channel too that maybe there's some input volatility with Tyler Higbee being out. You know, if you want to toss Skowronek a little bit more target share, and you could do that same exercise, right? Where if you flip these two, if you did 7.4 and 3.2, and then you did 6.8 and 2.7, just switch these. We play Skowronek as the jacked up tight end. I bet we can bully him. I forgot to reset these other inputs. I bet we can bully him into the optimizer. Or into the simulator, I should say. Let's see here. There you go. So we get Skowronek up to 15% flex rate there. So again, there is some input volatility here with Tyler Higbee out. Is it going to be Hopkins? Is it going to be Blanton? Is it going to be Skowronek? If you feel like you have a lean, just shifting 3.5 percentage points of target share is going to make these guys pop way more than the other. So then Blanton comes down all the way to Hopkins, which makes sense because then they would both be around a 2.5% target share. They're only going to appear in the flex about 1/20th of the time in the winning lineup. Ben's going to now appear here almost 16% of the time. Do you force your 20 max to be 5-1 or 4-2 to avoid the basic bitch 3-3 lineups? I don't, because I'm more concerned with overall product ownership. But I do think that if I was hand building 20 lineups like that, I would probably focus on that just because it's so much more likely that hand builders are using that. But I generally trust the product own that, there's multiple ways we can get unique. I always think of the 3 ways we can get unique. the structure of the lineup. So a 1-5, a 5-1, that's generally going to be more unique, with a really contrarian low owned play, tossing in your Ben Skowronek, or by leaving salary on the table. So I don't think you necessarily have to always do all of those. But if you're accomplishing at least one, probably two of those three in most lineups, you'll be well on your way to not being duped. But like you could have a 3-3 where you leave a lot of salary on the table and use a super contrarian one-off. In that case, I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about the 3-3. You tell me, Lou. You're the first TD whisperer. I did want to make a pick 'em. What time does this game start tonight? Is this we got 10 minutes? Zach, what tight end on Rams do I start for fantasy? Is this a season-long take? Or are you playing Showdown? If you have to choose between one of them, I would play Blanton. But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it for you. Murray first TD. Has to be Ertz first TD. I like the Odell call. Ooh, Rondale first TD 18-1. Let's get a pick 'em here. I need a pick 'em. We need a good communal sweat tonight. We need a good communal sweat. Sony Michel, 70.5 rush yards. Sony Michel. So we have both Sony Michel and James Conner. Did they take that James Conner off the board? When I looked earlier today, they had a half rush plus receiving TD for Conner. It looks like they took that off. I kind of like this Odell Beckham over 45.5. Just with his ADOT, I feel like it's pretty binary. And if he just even connects on a couple targets, he's probably getting there. I actually like that call. Stafford over a half an interception. Yeah, especially if the Cardinals can get the lead and force them to throw. I like that. We need one Ram, though, and one Cardinal. I'm fine going over on interception. We do like the double Ds. Here's the James Conner. I did like that one, too. James Conner scores a touchdown tonight. Their rush rate is just so high. I like how this is kind of correlated. Matthew Stafford interception, James Conner 1 TD. I kind of like that. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I missed that before. I think I'm going to ride with this. All right. Here's the link if you want to tail. Appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Good luck in your Showdown contest. Love seeing all of you guys rake with the Sims. If you guys want to get in there, mess with the Sims on your own throughout the day, run the Sims for the main slate, you can become a Run the Sims sub. You can get 10% off with promo code Pete. Get access to the Discord channel in the Deposit Kingdom with your membership. Just hit me up if you sign up. Get early access to the leverage plays throughout the day. It's a fun time in there. Good luck tonight. May all of your random ass punt plays score touchdowns. We'll see you soon.